Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
Yes, I'm super stoked too. This is a place that I like to share people that inspire and motivate me. And let's just say you definitely fit the bill. So,
Well, it's definitely mutual. I think it goes both ways.
mm,
You are very inspiring, hardworking, driven, determined, fierce, feminine, and yeah, I love you so much. So
mm,
it always feels good to do stuff together and to be, you know, taking on the world together, it feels like.
yes, thank you,
Yeah.
sister. It is. It is definitely a mission that we're on, and you and I have noticed the divine connections that we have, and a lot of similarities along the way. I think you've said we share a brain sometimes. So,
Share a brain. I said you're an extension of my body. We complete the yin and the yang. And the list goes on.
yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
absolutely. Well, what we're going to do this evening, we're just going to be on for about an hour, and I'm just going to ask you questions and kind of let you share. And a lot of times, there's things that I can also jump in on and share my experience. But for the most part, I really just want to showcase who you are, what you do, and kind of the woman behind the cosmic librarian, the grid working goddess that you are. And yeah, so welcome everybody that's showing up in the room. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Did you bring a little healthy beverage?
I did. I made some tea. I have
Okay,
my IndigoAngel cup.
nice.
Yeah. And tonight I am drinking my ulcer healing tea. I'm still on this because I'm still trying to heal my gut.
Mm.
This one has clove and hawthorn and sea buckthorn and licorice and jasmine and a couple other things that are kind of hard to pronunciate, but I'm just giving it a try. It's supposed to be Chinese traditional medicine tea, so I'm always looking for new healthy solutions to try to heal the lining of my stomach.
Mm.
And actually, so funny because I knew we were doing this tea time. I was like, why don't I get some other things I'm doing for my, just to kind of talk about it. I'm also trying, and this is what I was actually going to show you, Noko, was the mastic gum.
Oh,
So this
nice.
is the new thing that I'm also trying to heal my stomach
Are
lining.
you
But yeah,
seeing some good results with either of these products yet, or?
I've just been doing them about a week and a half, a couple weeks, and I feel like it's hard for me always to tell right away. I always like to give organic and natural things a good 2 to 3 weeks to see, what kind of results I'm going to get.
Mhm.
But so far, nothing's upset my stomach. So I'm hoping that I'm on the right track to healing with, these couple new things I'm trying. But yeah, but I did bring out my favorite tea. This tea time. I mean, we might have to have a tea time just for us both to drink some of this, but the lavender spearmint. Oh,
Ooh, yeah.
oh my gosh, my bag's almost empty and I've already gone through like a few bags, so I'm on my last one. Time to reorder. But the lavender spearmint, I can drink this one all day long. I mean, it is
Mm.
just delish.
Mm.
So that's kind of like my comfort tea, my feel good tea, and then also try to use tea more specifically for healing and things like this. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I don't think I've tried that combo, lavender spearmint. That sounds good.
This is so good, and I think some people might be a little bit hesitant to try it, or at least, some family when they've come over, they're like, lavender, I don't want to drink lavender, but
Huh?
it's like, it's so pleasant. The flowers are so pleasant to drink.
Mhm.
Yeah, this one really puts me in a good mood, makes me feel feminine, and it's like such an upper vibrationally. Yeah, I love
I
that
love
tea.
tea. I've always been a tea drinker just because I didn't really get into coffee. It really upset my tummy, and I just like the warm, comforting part of it. And then when I started realizing how healing, I mean, like, in Chinese medicine, that's like a main way that they deliver their medicinals and their herbs. So it really started to make sense to me why I'm so drawn to it. And it really does help me, in so many different ways. Like you said, the woman feminine part. I found some great teas, like raspberry leaf and
Mm.
even just using ginger and things like that really help to relieve pain or inflammation in the body, and have helped
Yeah.
my cycle as I'm getting older, just kind of keeping my hormones in balance. Ashwagandha, I have that actually today. I've got my ashwagandha and my maca tea to give me a little
Ooh.
boost. Yeah.
Well, it's so fun to explore it, right? Because, yeah, I mean, herbs can be used for so many things, like all the way from emotional and mental healing to actual physical healing. So, yeah,
Mhm.
I like to use mine super interchangeably. I would say, along with the lavender and spearmint, the other one that I found to be so amazing similarly was sage tea. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. I
So,
haven't had that. That must
yeah,
be
that
really
was one
cool.
I came across from Namaste Blends, and it's really good.
Is it? I would imagine it's got like really cleansing properties to it. Mm.
It just makes sense, right? I mean, we're
Mhm.
burning sage to clear our homes, our houses, our auras, our fields. Why wouldn't we drink it? I feel like I'm getting an internal saging.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we have even used herbs and things like in our grid work when we do some of our remote missions. We use those essences, bringing them through the frequencies of them. In fact, I was just in a group prayer yesterday, and my tea, I used my tea like everybody was tuning into the frequency of the raspberry leaf for women, for women's reproductive and fertility, and it just like dawned on me the power of these herbs, that, obviously God, great spirit created and put here on this earth for all of us to use and enjoy in a medicinal way. And it's such a beautiful, thing to be able to tap into in so many different dimensions, right?
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I know there's
Mm.
some more. Wasn't Blue Lotus one of them as well?
Blue
I think Blue
lotus.
Lotus is a very spiritual herb that we can
Mm-hmm.
use.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, mugwort. A lot of people use, even for sleeping. People will do the valerian, before they go to bed.
yeah,
So,
yeah, those are all good options. And wormwood.
oh,
Wormwood for parasite cleansing, and we've been
parasite.
talking about that. The
Mm-hmm.
need to parasite cleanse. Yeah, we've been kind of all over that recently. It seems to be coming up a lot with the parasite fog. And I think a lot of people, as they're starting to research more of the cancer, which, I think has been a veil that's been lifting for a lot of people, is discovering how we need to kind of resort to parasite cleanses versus accepting a cancer diagnosis. And another thing that I got as well is that if you are going to get checked for cancers, don't let them biopsy you.
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as they biopsy it, it spreads in the body.
Wow.
And that's why most people end up having it become benign or malignant, whatever it's called, the one that, either it's restrained to a certain area or it continues to expand, and go in other places in the body. So, yeah, that's what I've been, being told is to, first things first, you think you might have cancer, 10-day fast, 10-day water fast, and then immediately parasite cleanse
Wow.
and
Mm.
then see kind of where you're at after
You
that.
know, it's
But
it's
yeah,
bringing me back to the when they do the looking for it in women in the breasts. What is that called? The thing where they squish your
the mammogram.
mammograms. Yeah, because I've never gotten one and I won't actually. I prefer not to do that. But what I've heard that is the same idea, the same concept. When you go to get, looked at and they do this screening, this preventative care, it's actually, if you have cancer in there, it's actually going to spread it because it's literally squishing the cells in there. So if you think about it, it doesn't make a lot of sense, to do that. And there is other options. I've heard great things about thermography. So if somebody did still want to have that preventative care, might be a little bit more expensive, might not be covered by insurance, but hey, do you want to, do you want to squish the cancer that might be in there and cause it to be worse? No, thank you.
Yeah, I'd say avoid a mammogram if you can, like the option you just suggested, or even just a regular ultrasound. I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a lot less radiation in an ultrasound, and they're actually more revealing and telling of your soft tissue. So, I
It's good
mean,
to know.
yeah, reducing as much exposure as possible. But
Wow. And see,
yeah,
Brandy is actually confirming. Yeah, she just put a comment. She had it come to her recently got a download that she shared with her family about the mammograms. I mean, you know, Indy and I talk about this stuff all the time about like the medical, healthcare system and just kind of being so backwards. And it's really hard to trust and do anything that they offer these days, knowing what we know, learning the hard way. So yeah, we're totally, I think, in alignment with that mind frame. It's kind of like last ditch effort if we ever needed to, if we got hit by a bus or something. Like,
Well, and just to say too, I know this is kind of personal for us a little bit, but I love how we have a sisterhood that we can share all of our health issues with one another. And it's kind of like, we're sympathetic and we're concerned and we have suggestions for each other. And I think every woman, needs a soul sister that is there to support her in that health journey, especially with your womanhood too, because I mean, things like your menstrual, I mean, they're not easy in these high ascending earth planetary timelines. Like our menstruals are so much more exacerbated, more difficult to get through. I would say symptoms are more extreme and severe. And we're dealing with a lot. And, we're processing all of the planetary suffering and pain body. And really, the imbalance in the magnetic grids and the magnetic field, like this is all coming through the expression of our womb and our menstruation. And plus, aging as well, getting to the menopausal years where your hormones are fluctuating and you have these imbalances. And so we're just trying everything we can, throwing the yam root cream to each other. I mean, we're over here trying to
yes,
get
sister,
grounded.
the yam root cream is definitely a good option. I think we both are working with that and didn't even realize it, right? We ended up realizing after, oh, I'm using that too. So it is a place that, I don't think that we're taught enough. I don't think that we're given that wisdom, in ancient culture. I think, this would be passed on from our elders. This would be information
Mhm.
that would be very sacred and ceremonial, and we'd be going through initiation and, this rite of passage, and where, instead, and this happens not just for women going, getting older, this happens in all the different phases for men and women of their lives. We've lost that sacred initiation and that rite of passage and all this wisdom that takes the fear out of it, that takes the discomfort and the nervousness and creates it into this ritual, ceremonial, beautiful thing to celebrate and, come into this new place in our lives, this transformation. And so I think having that sisterhood and being able to, actually still bring that in is detrimental for sure.
Yeah, because I think it's so imperative that you do bring it into your friendship because, I mean, it's the process of give and take and give and flow because we have to feel that out. Like when we're going through those cycles, we're not always 100%. We're not always our super best, and it's like, okay, I need a couple days. Like I need to rest. I need relaxation. I need, self-care, which we talk about a lot. And knowing, those sensitivities and, where you're at, where I'm at, where our other divine sisters are at, it allows us to be, you know, sensitive to those things and supportive, since we can't be there as we should, like back in tribal culture and, all of this where we're in the sweat lodges together or in the cycle lodges together. I don't know what
The
they're
red
called, but
tents.
yeah,
Yeah, the red
yeah.
tents, totally. Because women were known to be more intuitive and literally prophetic during their moon time. So they would be, they'd go
Mhm.
into the red tent and have this sacred time to literally bring forth the prophecy and the oracle. So, sister, I love talking with you.
Yeah.
So we dove in, and I didn't even give you a chance to introduce yourself. So let's do that because we have a lot of people here with us. I'm so excited. Thank you, everybody, for joining us live tonight. Indy, she's actually she's one of my bosses. So I work for Indy. This is how I actually met her, and I'm so grateful that I was able to meet her because she ended up being one of my bestest friends ever. So to be able to work that way, right? People probably be like, "Ooh, business and pleasure." No, oh, we're figuring that out really good. We're working through those codes really well, and I think it's part of our mission together here. So,
Yeah.
if you would, Indy, let everybody know who you are. what you do and like where they can find you, just to give them a base knowledge?
Yeah, wow, that's a question I don't always get very often, but I love it when it comes by. I think, well, thanks for bringing me on um, your channel and your Instagram. This is really a special opportunity for me to come and connect with your tribe. And um, I would say I wear many hats. Yeah, I've been through many different cycles of my ascension and my awakening that I feel like I just continue to evolve into the person that I'm becoming. And I would say my focus and my passion currently is to really focus on grid work. I've taught 3 courses right now on gridwork facilitation, teaching people, my methodology that I've done and all of my tips and tricks and wisdom and experience. And I just put it all in this beautiful course package for people and try to help inspire others to become gridwork facilitators because I do believe that it's the spiritual evolutionary technology that allows to take us from you know, uh, just the processes of healing and I would say typical ascension, uh, going through an awakening, going through the dark night of the soul, going through activating your 12th dimensional light body and blueprint. But I would say grid worker uh, spiritual technology takes us into planetary logos consciousness and to planetary avatar consciousness, which is really we're just accessing and communicating with the holographic architecture and the energy within the earth and really understanding that biosynthesis of that connection. And a lot of the people that we do grid work with, myself included, we are channelers, we're psychic seers, we're remote viewers, and we take all of the data that we collect and we read that divine blueprint of the planet and we kind of have our own diagnosis according to our guides and guardian consciousness and Christ consciousness of what we need to do to be planetary stewards to assist with alleviating dense energy or negative energy or even evil stuck energies, whatever it is, right? I mean, we kind of figure it out through that exploration process. And we have, certain ways that we go about alleviating that through cleansing, through clearing, through meditation, through group ceremonial work, through light and sound healing. Um, as Noko, she's most often our beautiful songstress who comes in and just takes it to the next level for us all. But yeah, using our gifts, our spiritual gifts, and working within the collective cosmic mind to shift that and, great spirit of the earth. And we tap into things that are infinite time and space fields that allows us to work within all dimensions simultaneously and make impactful changes. I really feel like we're doing the behind the scenes work that a lot of people aren't really aware that's happening or occurring or even needs to happen. But I think we gather that by looking at what's going on in the world, what kind of current events are happening, what is the health of the quality of the land that we're on, or the quality of the land in which we're tuning into to run the activations or the clearings, and we organize accordingly through our intention and what it is we're trying to achieve in that mission. So yeah, grid work is just one of the many hats that I wear. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I am a healer. I specialize in deep chakra clearings, implant removals, um, planetary personal grid readings. I mean, gosh, so many things that I do, really. I can't even really define it all. It's like I lose track sometimes, but it's a lot. But
Yeah,
yeah.
a woman of many hats for sure. And I love that about you. It's part of what inspires me because I am the same way. And to see you be able to successfully, have your own business doing that and, juggling, because you're also a mother. and you have other passions as well. You have a life outside of that. So it just is really a beautiful inspiration. You know, I definitely look up to you in that way of seeing you be able to apply it, you know, into a real-time business. And, you know, I assist her. So I probably know just about as much, you know, on the business side of the things that she does because I'm helping her with the customer service and doing all those things. But you should definitely check out her website. She's got IndigoAngel222.com. And then she also has the, what is it, Learn Indigo Angel.
Mm-hmm.
And that one is all her coursework. So if you want to check out any of, I mean, she has courses way beyond grid work. She did a Starseed expansion course. She's done a warrior, you know, like a goddess warrior course. That one is really cool.
Yeah.
And even the implant, the sessions that you do, she's gone as far as teaching a course for people to learn the implant removal. And so that's another thing that I love about you, Indy, is that you don't just, you know, want to sell the fish to the people. You want to teach the people to fish. And that is such an important quality, I feel, in a leader. Not being a gatekeeper of information, not having this controlled aspect, and really wanting to share the wisdom. It's just, you know, I love that deeply. It's very humbling and it's important, right? Because
Yeah.
we need that technology and that wisdom to reach across, you know, all walks of life, across the whole planet, and be there for next generations. As you said, you're writing books. You've got these courseworks that you do once live, and then you've got them there for as long as the internet's available, and people can be tapping into these decades later. So it's really cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, you would know more than anybody all of the stuff that I have going on. And I really rely on that sometimes to be my backbone. Sometimes if I get off centered or, um, I think one thing that can be difficult is interfacing all of the time with people that don't know all the things that you do, or they haven't seen how long you've been doing something, or they haven't seen how long you've been studying something or write about something. And, you know, I mean, like, I know in this higher consciousness community, we have to a lot of times qualify and quantify ourselves because it's not like there's a higher consciousness university
Right.
PhD. And, you know, there might be some, but not too many people, I think, have attained that. So you do internally level up, I think, in your skills, your awareness, your understanding, your studies. And let me put it this way, you don't have to go to university to get a PhD in something. You very well can educate yourself enough to become that yourself. So I feel like that's kind of the journey I've been on. And so I appreciate it so much that you helped me with alignment, with remembering that. And also, it just, it keeps our bar set. It's like we set a bar and we realize who we are and what we are because we set that bar, and we don't um, fall under it. And if we do a little bit, we pull each other back up. Like, okay, no, this is the bar. No, this is where we're at. This is who we are. This is what we've been doing. This is what we've attained. You know, and it's, I wouldn't say it, I mean, I guess it's gatekeeping in the lower dimensional realms, but it's like um it's something higher. It's something beyond that in the higher realms.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely, truly. So yeah, I just, there's no words right there. That was just an energetic transmission
We just got the
going through.
telepathic codes going. It's okay. Don't, I can see the audience that we have. They're receiving it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So
Smash that like button.
yeah, exactly. Hit the like. Yeah, put some comments in there. And y'all that are on here, just remember, unfortunately, Instagram loses all these beautiful comments when I post the replay. So come back onto the replay and give us some more comments if you feel inclined to do that and support us in that way. I see somebody, Grooves in the Heart. I always love hearing her name because it brings me back to one of my favorite songs that I want to sing all the time when I hear that.
Oh, grooves in
Yeah.
the
Yeah, you see, you know it. I'm ready to like hit the dance party with you. She
yeah.
says so many of the Christic groups gatekeep. So yeah, so if you're, involved in any of these communities, and I can't speak to that particular point because I haven't really been involved in any of those specifically, but yeah, I think that a lot of people would agree. And even we've been talking about this a lot with our boots on the ground missions when we go physically to a place. And this has happened in many events, not just with Indy, but many different events that I've done where the communities, the people physically in those areas have some concern, have some trust issues, have some ego around, ownership of land, of grids. And so it's just something that I think we're really being called to, shed the light on and just show up with love, and prove our pure hearts. And that's really all it takes. It's
Yeah.
never been a real problem.
Yeah, that is something we've had to deal with for sure. Not everywhere, but I think in a couple particular places, there's like that people feel that they're entitled to, the land. I think this came up in our live last night. It was, nobody owns the land. You may live here and you may occupy this and you may have grown up and you are bonded according to, your genes and your genetics and, all of those things, which it does give you, I would say, a right to act in accordance with the land and on behalf of the land, but it doesn't mean that it's your land or you own that land. None of us own the land. The earth is free to all beings. Water should be free to all beings. Air should be free to all beings. And our right to exist on this beautiful planet. And, unfortunately, there's barriers and borders and crossings, and there's rules and regulations and copyright. What I'm trying to get is that I think in a couple places we have been met head on with people that want to threaten us in some ways. Like people have been threatening, people have definitely tried to um, do as many fear tactics as possible to try to deter us from doing grid work and things like that. And, um, we just push through that. You realize that there really isn't much people can do unless they personally want to break the law themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, as long as you're obeying laws and rules, and I mean, things get kind of dicey when you get to national parks or, big mainstream areas in the city where they do have like rules where people can and can't be. But, I think even expressing your spirituality in public, a lot of people shy away from these things when, you know, I think we should be showing it more outwardly in the world. Our ability to embrace, to love, to pray, to be spiritual, it shows other people how to do it. Um, but not only that, the earth needs it from us. And these places that we go to clear and to heal and to work on it, it needs it too. And so, if we feel like a mission is something we have to do, we fight through. Literally, we've fought through threats before. We have fought through people trying to fearmonger and do all kinds of stuff, and we didn't give up. We didn't push back, and we realized as soon as we made that decision to stay in alignment, their tactics like dissolved, and they no longer had control. And you know, we were successful with our mission, and they ended up being some of the most powerful ones.
Yeah, and what a beautiful lesson that you're bringing through there with that for people, like just in a general level, because it kind of reflects, the controllers and those that are trying to be in power and the fear tactics and the things that they use to try to, right, keep people from doing things or scare people away from things. And even like I've found a lot of this around taxes and IRS and all of that. I feel like it's by design, and so the more people are able to, not allow that fear to, come into play and realize what it is and still just stay in their true alignment and in their pure heart, you really can't go wrong there. So
Yeah.
it's like transmuting, right? Transmuting the fear tactics and the controllers.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, you do have to weigh your risks, like your pros and cons. You do have to weigh if something is going to put you in an immediate threat or some form of danger. But I mean, I think we have really strong intuition,
Yeah.
where we really get the read for what it is we're supposed to be doing. And um, yeah, that's why I'm so excited about South Carolina. I mean, we're supposed to be going to South Carolina. We're supposed to be doing this big mission in April. So uh, I think there was a few things that did come up.
Mhm.
A couple things have come through. Like we heard, through the grapevine that some Carolinians don't like outsiders coming in and doing things and stuff like that. But um, you know, I think if if we're mindful, if we're respectful, if we're dutiful, if we're um, taking that time to have our ceremonial space, not always like in public space. I think that's one thing that's really come in handy for us is like being able to have our own space for ceremonies and having that place where we can have that downtime and collect as a group and not be interrupted by the outside world. That makes such a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it comes a lot, at least what I've noticed is in the smaller communities, like the areas that are really kind of like when you're from a small town and everybody knows your business. It's a similar concept. So like when we went to Kauai, it's like such a small, you're on an island. There's like a small population of people. And many of them have been there, since the dawn of their existence and their ancestral lineage. So it does create a kind of a breeding ground for that versus if you're in like New York City and there's just millions of people milling around. So I get the feeling that Charleston might have that kind of smaller town, even though it's a city, like a smaller town, historic vibe. And yeah, I did not allow that to bother me one bit when I heard that. I guess I've grown used to that, doing the boots on the ground missions. I almost expect it. I probably shouldn't, but um, yeah, I think we've done enough of this, and we always follow our intuition, and we always are connected with God and what we're supposed to be doing. And so that fear is definitely washed away for me in a lot of ways. Um, but let's talk about that mission because, I mean, at least for a few minutes, right? Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about it and invite them to join us?
Yeah, well, we're calling in our guardian team right now. We're looking for whoever feels guided to come. It is a boots on the ground mission, so it does require people to step a little bit out of their comfort zone, out of the normal daily grind and schedule, and dedicate themselves to something that is unique and different, and really aligned with guardianship and true, real, genuine grid work, getting out there on the grids, getting out there on location. And so we have been doing maybe 1 to 2 grid worker boots on the ground missions a year. We do probably a good 12 remote ones on Zoom or more a year. Um, but we seem to get out on the location once or twice. And so this year, we're going to do South Carolina and Charleston for 2025. And I think this is such a pivotal location right now. I mean, really got the go ahead from Source with this location, how rooted and founded it is in American history. And right now, as we know, I think a lot of Americans are waking up right now to truth at a new level. And it's just amazing, the feelings I've been getting. I think I used to feel so much like, oh, so many people are not awake, and be maybe bitter about that or resentful about that or want to wake people up or you know but I'm like, wow, when I look around, a lot of people are awake, a lot of people are caring, a lot of people are concerned, a lot of people are rising in knowledge. I see a lot of young people waking up, and it's just like, wow, I think Americans are, and I say American starseeds. I mean, like, we're all like these precious souls. And it's amazing to see people come together in unity, um, truth, transparency, um, just being activated by what we did our show on the other night, the patriotism. I think patriotism is rising. Like people are recognizing the value of the freedom we have here, especially with the new movements on social media where there's a lot more truth. I think that's being revealed to people and seeing how things work in other parts of the world and being more appreciative of being in America. So this boots on the ground mission is really like the essence of this. I mean, Charleston, South Carolina was the city in which the first shots of the Civil War were fired. And I mean, this was right after the American Revolution when we gained our independence from Great Britain, and we were no longer under their rule and their taxation. And even in the Civil War, I mean, the Brits were still basically meddling in with our like Civil War. Like Missy brought some stuff in the other night talking about how the Brits, funded the Confederacy, all of this just to try to cause more division. And so it's coming up because it's like, wow, I mean, all these emancipation cycles are running right now. Canada, really, emancipation activations and sovereignty cycles, the United Kingdom. And I think we have an opportunity in this boots on the ground gridwork mission to really shine that torch that America has been gifted and granted as the torch bearers of the globe to be inspiration and role models for the rest of the world. The veils have been lifted and removed in a lot of ways for us here, and we're able to speak more truth. We're able to awaken and ascend. I mean, people have even told me like it feels like we're behind America when it comes to the ascension, when it comes to awakening. And it's because of the freedom that we do have here. I mean, it's not entirely free, but we have more than other people have. And so I think it's an opportunity to celebrate this. It's an opportunity to come together in ceremony and hold the grids, because we're such a staple of strength for so many others in other parts of the world. And it's also a very imperative time that we focus on global war prevention, because as you know, the world is in a state of war right now. I mean, I don't think that Russia, and Ukraine have come to any agreements. I mean, yet they're working on a ceasefire or whatever, but it doesn't sound very promising at the moment because there's all kinds of stuff. I'm listening and paying attention to all this stuff, but the Middle East, Venezuela and the United States. I mean, Trump just initiated some alien act thing because of that. Like we're actively under attack by the Venezuelan gang. So there's just a lot of contention on the lands. And it does seem political, but this affects the collective, this affects society, this affects communities, this affects what we experience in our daily lives. And it's all connected through the fabric, the mother grid, and the fabric of life. Yeah, there's overlays of these artificial grids, but there's genuine energy that's running through that we can, impact, heal, and clear by especially focusing on places where the meat and potatoes of the American core is located, South Carolina. I mean, our Constitution was written and ratified there. I mean, my gosh, that to me feels like, wow, what an opportunity I'm getting to have to go there and experience this place.
Yeah. Had you ever been to Charleston?
Never.
Okay, me neither. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
know.
another thing, right? With grid work, it's like that's why I think it's kind of I laugh a little bit about people like grid keeping their grids, because I think that so many of us have different codes and things within our physical body, within our DNA and our lineage, that when we go to other places on the grids, of course, we're receiving activations and breaking, ancestral curses and doing, all the different things for ourselves and our families. But it's also something for the grids. It's also something for the communities there and the world in general. So it's like, I laugh because it's like, oh man, wouldn't you want that? Wouldn't you want those people to be able to come in that maybe haven't? Maybe these are people that have been there in past lifetimes, people that have had ancestors from there. Like when I went to Ireland, I mean, I felt like I had been there. Like my sister and I both were like, we have totally been here before. Like we've been in past lifetimes here. There's no doubt in our minds. So I just kind of like want those people to think a little bit outside of their own little physical box and understand, because many of them do believe that there are past lifetimes. And so just trying to, same with like race relations and things like this, people really get stuck in that little divide and conquer box. And my prayer is that more people can find the love in their hearts and actually see outside of that and these other perspectives, and really welcome those of us that are coming with those codes and those specific pieces to the puzzle that maybe haven't been there yet to come back and unlock. So I think it's so cool because I've been called there. I've never been there. You've never been there. And clearly the grids want us there. So
Yeah. Well, I really hope that, I mean, this is an offering to everyone watching to come and join us. And yeah, we're hoping to pull in dedicated, strong, intuitive, and people who are aligned with purpose and sovereignty. Because it's like when we go do these missions, we are channelers of the divine. We're really just acting upon what Source is asking us to do in those places. And so, um, yeah, it's important we have a team that comes in that's aligned with the intention of the mission, with the heart-based frequency of the mission, that they're really into it, and that they are coming in prepared and ready. But we prepare them too, because I mean, we have our purification pre-call, we have our shadow workshop, we try to help everyone with what to expect, So even if someone's never done grid work before and is like, what is that? What am I even doing? I mean, we try to help guide anyone from beginner level all the way to people who have done it before. And that's what I love about you too, Noko, is like you have an amazing way of seeing where people are at and seeing what people's needs are. And I love that me and you can have those discussions, and we try to understand people and encourage people and help people and support people. So that's what people get when they come and do a boots on the ground gridwork mission with us. And, not only from like helping, encouraging, coaching, mother energy, sister energy, priestess energy, but we'll even, kick back into healer mode if we need to do that. I mean, we're not going to leave a grid worker behind. I think we should create a no grid worker ever left behind rule or something. That's our
I
motto.
love that. Yes, sister. I love that. I mean, because we always say that, even for our remote missions and our physical missions, man, woman, beginner, advanced, somebody that hasn't activated any gifts and has no idea how to use their intuition, to someone that is, a master in the space, like all are welcome. And we really enjoy, the challenge of that and being able to meet everybody where they are on their own journeys. And I mean, this is how, I got to where I'm at just within a couple of years of working for Indy. I was doing grid work before, unconsciously. But as soon as I connected those dots and started learning some of these ways and practicing, I mean, my mind has been blown with a lot of the, intuitive capabilities, the remote viewing. I never thought I would be able to remote view, and just the gifts, even my oracle, my sound healing and my oracle capabilities coming through. I would have never, 2 years ago, I would have never seen myself where I am today doing what I'm doing with grid work. So, I always say I'm a walking testament to her coursework and the things that she teaches, and being a part of these missions, being able to receive these activations, boots on the ground or remote. We definitely all receive as much as we're also giving back. We're also receiving. So it's super rewarding. And we have a whole day in Charleston that we'll be doing kind of a retreat style, moment where people can receive sound healing and do, body work, stretching, moving, eating nourishing food. Indy's going to do an amazing ceremony there. So we're going to have a dinner. We're going to have like a ceremonial dinner and fire. I mean, this is going to be
Yeah, it's a big
a
deal. This
high
isn't like
vibration.
some little camping trip or something. I mean,
Yes.
this is,
It's like
yeah.
It's like a high vibrational party, really. Like it's a party you've never been to before. Because most of us go to a party nowadays and we're like, oh, no, no thanks. I don't do that anymore. No, I can't have that. No, sorry. And you look like a fuddy-duddy, right? But at this spot, like we're all going to be in that same, alignment and kind of, really, really raising the vibration. So it's perfect.
Yeah. It's definitely full on soul family community experience. We do our best to try to make sure everybody knows that like they are seen, they're heard, that they're loved, that everyone's included. We're really good at that. We're really good at making sure everyone has a part and that people are acknowledged, even if they just want to sit in the back and not be heard. Um, I have a little bit of an issue. Like I usually, I always check in on those people. I always check with them. I keep checking until they say, don't check or something, because I want to make sure that if there's a spark of light or opportunity to grow, that it's nourished. And so, yeah, it's so much fun. I feel like we could swim in grid worker land for a long time. Just
That's one of our favorite things to talk about and bring to the people. Absolutely. But so if
yes.
y'all are feeling the call, even if you are like, I don't know how I could even make that work, if it's a time constraint or a abundance blockage, just reach out to either of us, DM us, and we will, talk, see what we can do. You never know. Miracles do happen. And when you set an intention with grid work, if you're meant to be doing it, it will come forward. It will happen. Take it from me. These miracles are real. So yeah, and we also, as she mentioned, we do remote missions. Actually, we have one for Canada coming up March 30th, and those can all be found on Indy's webpage and also her coursework page. And when I post the replay, I'll be sure to add those links in there for y'all to find. But I do want to make sure that I give her a little bit more time because I want her to be able to share a little bit about her journey. Really, I think the tribe would love to know some tips around, starting a business the way you have. Do you have any wisdom? I'm sure you have a bunch, but maybe just a couple, ideas or tips that other people that might be wanting to start their own business, get out of the corporate world, dive into, healing work or teaching work, intuitive work. If you have anything that you could bring forward for people to kind of take notes on, that would be amazing.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think what's so important, especially if you're getting out of the corporate situation, is that you definitely give yourself time to truly find what it is that makes you happy and soul aligned. And a good way to do that is to, in the beginning, whatever it is you think you're going to do or you want to do, don't do it for anybody else. Do it for yourself. I could say in the beginning of becoming IndigoAngel, I would just make art for myself because it was therapeutic, it was inspirational, it was aligned with my spiritual activations. So a lot of the YouTube videos I did in the beginning, like there was no rhyme or reason or organization. I didn't have like YouTube, like, it was just like, I'm just going to create to create because it makes me happy. And then that turned into uh, developing myself within that and getting more inspired, more driven, more focused, more, okay, I can see that I can develop these parts of my mind and my skills and my personality and how I was working to make parts of myself better. It was like I became a project through my creation, through my art. And that project of me turned into, well, I'm drawing attention and I'm, other people are inspired by what it is and wanting to support that. I feel like I can now turn this into a business. And so, like, the first thing I ever started to market was I had like a little $20 Starseed origin reading, and I started real small. Actually, I started doing things for free. and sometimes still do things for free, but in the beginning it was like, I just need to get practice. I need to get my name out there. I need to share. So, you start small and then you grow. You just start to grow and then you start to add things and you start to um, realize that, your time is more valuable. And so that value and that worth increases, and you continue to just build from there. So I would say it's just make sure you're definitely aligned with what you love to do, because then it doesn't feel like work. It feels like purpose and what you should be doing. Um, and, and I think that's the most important thing about it. I mean, even to this day, I look at everything I'm doing and I'm like, nope, I'm still aligned with myself, with my sovereignty, with my truth. um, I think that can waver throughout the process of it all. Like you can sometimes, because you're changing all the time as a person, you're becoming a new person. I mean, even now, I feel like I just went through another shift where I'm a lot of the old things that I did on a spiritual level, like I don't align with some of those things the same way anymore. Like parts of me is changing, and so my focus is changing, my interests are changing. I feel like now I've become like honestly more serious. The more I've awakened, the more I've peeled back with what's going on in the world and becoming a global planetary grid reader. Before I was just a grid worker, but now I'm a global grid reader. So I'm like looking into everything in every country and this and that and all the information. So I see more and more of what's going on in the world. And I feel like, we've talked about this. This has sparked more of my need and my drive and my want to be more, I not like entirely an activist, but somebody who definitely brings injustices forward and is a voice for maybe people that are voiceless, or just issues that are voiceless right now, just awakening more in people's minds. So I would say my spirituality has grown a little bit into a more serious nature as of recently, but I love it. I'm aligned to it. It actually makes me feel like I'm on fire and like I'm doing something. So, I'd say just stick to your passions and set yourself up for those transitions out of the corporate world, right? Like set yourself up for how you're going to get out of it. How make a plan, make a goal. You have to have goal. You have to have vision. You have to be able to see yourself in the future. Because if you don't, there's no like focus. There's no, you're not doing something every day to put another little pin in the basket to get to that goal. I mean, even now, I have to have goals. I have to be looking at the next year to the 2 years, the next 5 years, the next 10 years. What is it I want to do? Ultimately, my long-term goal is to become a published author of multiple literature books and works. I'd love to be not only a global grid reader, but I want to be teaching about grid work on a massive scale where I'm reaching hundreds and hundreds of people. And I want to be a speaker across the globe as well, like, conferences, events, like doing things, quicker, faster, all of these things. So knowing that I'm going to get there someday. It's just that right now I'm being cultivated, I'm being crafted. Everything I'm doing right now is building me, my character, my qualities that are going to get me there. And I just remind myself of that and just have patience with the process of the journey of my life and try not to get too stressed out about it, but know that I have to work. I have to work hard to get there.
Mhm.
Nothing like freedom isn't free. Nothing comes easy. We make this look easy because we're on here talking and having fun, but we work hard. We're the hardest working women that we know. We work very hard. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, that right there, I feel like I could just take that clip right there and just sell that for an invaluable price. I mean, these are such strong and deep words of guidance, and I just want to highlight so much of what she said. I could literally just repeat it all because it resonates for me. I left the corporate world. I'm still in that process myself as well. And so I love hearing you bring up the patience and the honoring of self and the process, and really keeping yourself in alignment, and also um, not judging that transformation. So when you feel that you're on the precipice of this new version of yourself, and maybe there's like this, you know, voice in your ear like, ooh, are people going to be okay with that? And wait, that doesn't align with what I used to be. And you know, all of those things, you just kind of sweep that to the side and kind of like stand strong in what you know to be true at this point. Honor yourself. And so it's so cool to me. Everything that you said is spot on. And I also love just the tip around, you know, even starting small, because that's kind of how I've had to, you know, just in like increments, because you can't just kind of go all in, especially if you're needing to support yourself financially. Anybody that's gone into business, I mean, there's a few exceptions, I'm sure, overnight success, but most people that go into business, it takes time, it takes money, it takes investment, it takes belief in yourself. And so if you're someone that is struggling in your own self-worth, in your value, if you're someone that is underpricing, you know, and looking, because I was doing that for the longest time. I still have people telling me I'm not, you know, charging enough. So I think these are all areas, and you and I have talked about this. It's like entrepreneurship is the biggest form of shadow work that you could ever dive into. And see, you're like, yeah, I mean, Indy knows about the shadow work, right?
Definitely. I think this is definitely something that, you know, people in the spiritual community probably struggle with the most is, well, because, you know, there are going to always be, everybody's in a different financial situation. Some people might have, you know, some sort of a nest that they can rely on, or they might have a savings, or they might have, they're on disability, and so they can do this and do this as a hobby, and, you know, or whatever it is, you know. But if you're, you know, like most people, that probably not too many of us, you know, have that, or whatever it is, you have to find a way to sustain yourself. I mean, it's, the world is ran by this fiat system, this economic system. We're not exempt from that. And spiritual work is just as valuable as anything else in this world that's getting compensated for time, value, worth, and energy. And we have to clear that. We really have to, and that's rooted deep in our crucifixion and persecution wounding. I mean, this is why I do J seal removals, is because I do believe that like removed me from that wounding that I had. I remember the day I had my J seal removal, that was the day I decided to go all in. It literally happened within a week. And I feel like that pulled something out of me, like that these, I'm not valuable and I'm not worthy of creating my own world, realm, and way to self-sustaining myself. I mean, because as a business owner, that's what you're doing. You're self-sustaining yourself. And to be aligned with your purpose as a spiritual being, you can't do anything other than spiritual work. I mean, you have to do something within this, or you're out of alignment with your truth. So yeah, it's I wish for all people struggling with that to be able to focus on alleviating any of that limiting mindsets and dissolving it. It's a belief system. It's an old world belief system. It's not a new earth belief system.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got to leave that behind. We got to shed that old programming, that old skin. And I know I personally have had to work on that and still continue to. And I do think that did come through, because you did a J seal for me in your implant. I was like the guinea pig in the implant course. And yeah, I think we both kind of were tuned into that. And I realized like so often that if I can't see myself, and you mentioned it when you were giving your tips, like if I can't see myself in that place, doing that thing, being worthy of that, then how is that ever going to come to me? How is, you know, God gonna place that in my hands if my hands are not open to receive that, right? And so our minds are so powerful. We don't realize how much our worrying, how much our, you know, lack of belief actually go against our
Yeah.
dreams and our missions.
Well,
So
And I have
thank
to say
you.
too, just to speak to the lack of belief, I feel like that often comes from our inner circle, like our family, the
Mm-hmm.
closest people in our life, because these are the people that don't see you as that person. They don't see the future you. They don't see the goal that you have in your head. They don't see like the person you're crafting inside. A lot of people hold you reflective to the old versions of what they believe and think that you are,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they don't have the level of depth to go in and read you. So you constantly have to almost shield yourself from that to keep
Absolutely.
the knowing of what and who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's something you have to master, because that's never not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that inner circle eventually, as you sustain that almost like boundary wall of, no, this is who I am, this is what I'm becoming, this is how I deserve to be treated, this is how I want to be seen. And you create that energy for people to reflect that back to you. But then you're always going to have people that just never will.
Mm-hmm.
They're never going to validate
Yeah.
the belief of you being, whatever it is you see yourself as. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to constantly validate that for yourself. And just when you were holding your hands out, I got to thinking, because you were like, am I worthy of that? It's like, to manifest it, and I need to work harder at this right now. It's like I don't have to ask for it. I have to almost like command it and almost take it. I
Mm-hmm.
have to take it, and I have to be that already. Like, now I have to vibrate that I am that
Mm-hmm.
to become it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's sounds a little universally selfish, but I mean, it's the universe does respond to like your own, like what you set as your own internal value.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Absolutely.
it's very hard to overcome, I think, especially for young people. I
Yeah.
watch the younger generation really struggle with this, and I just wonder sometimes, what is the cure for them, because it's not words, it's not talking, sharing. I mean, it's something that almost has to be lived and sparked and activated inside them. And I feel like truly it's the depth of purpose. It's missing with the young ones, the belief that they can do something amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you and I both have such a heart for our future generations, and I think it is a space, a very untapped space, spiritually speaking, because it is so sensitive. It's such an area that we all know, especially those of us that have children. You kind of tread lightly, like what is okay to come forward with as a leader, as a guide, and someone that's not actually family, or with a PhD, in this world, how people, put these people on a platform, give them God complexes just because they have a white coat, or a degree. And I want to highlight, my sister mentioned something in the comments. Because she's actually been on this wild ride of leaving the corporate world too and starting her own business. And she said there's also healing that needs to happen when you leave the corporate world. And my gosh, I can vouch for that fact. And that's part of why I feel like the divine timing aspect for me, when I left, I moved into a new home out into the country, away from all the frequencies and all the terrible, things that were kind of growing up around me. Now I have a cow pasture in my backyard. And like, ever since I moved here, I was able to leave my corporate job and start healing, just being on this sacred land, getting out and grounding, being in the sunshine, being away from the Wi-Fi towers. It's made a huge difference. And so that is a piece that everybody needs to remember. And it's part of why it does also take some time from when you leave the job to actually find like success and abundance and everything that you're aiming for, because it is a process, and healing, it's kind of something that you have to be patient with and allow your body to truly, cleanse and clear all of that junk, all of the soul sucking, and to rejuvenate and restore. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, thank you, Lish, for bringing that in. So true. We have a lot of great
Thank
comments coming
you.
through. Yeah. So sister, I want to just I definitely want to talk about our giveaway before we hop off, but I have a couple more quick questions that I want you to share. Do you have a few more minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I'm
Yay.
having
Okay.
fun.
Okay, great. Me too. So we're both mothers. We talk about this is one of the things in our friendship. We support each other a lot with motherhood. We both have almost young adult children, and similar, kind of gone through some similar things. How do you maybe a few tips or some discussion on how you balance, being a mom to these older, young adults, and how do you balance that with, running your business and kind of doing the healing and the spiritual aspect of things? Do you have any tips for other parents out there?
Good question. Well, there are days that it's mayhem. There are days that it's chaos. There are days that I'm barely hanging on. They get a little wonky. I think that mostly, especially now that my, kids are older, a little bit, high school and college age, is to just be available. What I find that they need the most is to be available for the important things. You they're coming into that age where it's like I think they want a little bit more independence and um, to do things on their own, like to be responsible, and they always want or need me to be there to like hold their hand type of thing. But they do need me to be there for things that are important. For an example was, my oldest is going into college, so going up on the campus with her, going with her to check in with her classes, help her with the scholarship applications and things like this, like that. She needs me to be mom in those situations still. Um, I think so. Being there for the important things, definitely. Always for me, being emotionally and spiritually and mentally available.
Mm.
I'm always available no matter what. Like any time of the day, like I might have to do this between 5 and 7 or da 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 da, but most of the time I'm always available. So anytime you need to talk, I'm here. So my door is always open, and um, taking time to do something every so often that's fun.
Yeah.
Like even if, just getting down to the beach for a few hours or going on a little hiking trail with the dogs or just something that we spend time together.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just going grocery shopping together and we plan a meal, but everyone's excited because it's a meal we all love to eat and make together. So just finding moments to still feel like a family. I very much have to focus on keeping the family unit together because I'm a single mom. I've been a single mom for the beginning of time. So if I don't hold that family bond and feeling, like everything falls apart and deteriorates. And I know it because there's been times where I haven't been well, I haven't been feeling good, I'm struggling maybe with personal things I have going on. So I'll have like a couple months of just like, it feels like I really fell off. And everybody feels that. Everybody's impacted by that. They feel like their home is impacted by that, the experience that they're having here. So and then that pushes them further away from
Mm.
me. They go find their outside things and they're not always necessarily good for them. So it's like, I have to really, it is a balance. It forces me to, I don't like to use the word forces, but it inspires me to have to take care of my health. Yeah, because I have to be good. I can't afford to be, ungrounded and unwell. I mean, I sometimes have to take time for those things, but when it comes to the things I can control, like my mental health, my emotional health, my spiritual health, I mean, I have to focus on those things because they sustain the family tree.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, sister. Well, I just want to highlight again what you just said about being a single mom. If any of y'all out there, there is no excuse. If any of y'all are out there, feeling that struggle and feeling that hardship, just know you are not alone. And I mean, what a beautiful, shining example of someone that is just doing the dang thing, regardless of the cards dealt. And I can only imagine. I mean, I've been a single mom for, luckily, it was only a very short time, but it was a really hard time. My son was very young at that time. He was a baby, and we were going through some other hardships. So I do completely understand. And my heart is always with single parents in general, not just mothers, but there are single fathers out there as well, trying to fill the place of two people, right? Of the mother and the father, of the divine masculine and the feminine. It is such a tall order. And so those of you that are doing it, I'm just giving you so much props and love and support. And, just remember, like, to pat yourself on the back, because that is, you're literally doing the job of two people, and even more at this point, the way it is to run a family, shoot, and how much you need to work and do all the other things. I mean, you could probably get away with having 3 or 4 parents hanging around, and make it a
Yeah.
little easier. So I just want to honor you and those of you that are out there doing this work in that way. It's, I salute, I mean, and I think your children as well can have a lot of gratitude and a little bit more understanding, when it comes to that, especially as they get older. I think they'll probably reflect back and say, wow, Mom, you were a super mom, like, how'd you do that?
Well, what I love about, being single and not having a man in the home is that all of my time is what I want to do with it. I mean, besides the time that I do take with my kids and have to focus on those things, other than that, I mean, it's all my own creation time. It's all my own, like, so I do hope that they are inspired by watching me be inspired by what my purpose, my passion, seeing me be involved, seeing me run a business. I think it does. I know it's rubbed off because my oldest is now going to college to get a business degree. So, I mean, it's the entrepreneur mindset has sat in, you know what I mean? So I feel like, um, it's also a way to keep me and my family safe as well, to not bring, people into the home, especially when I have girls, so they're very delicate in a lot of ways and need to be protected and shielded from things. And um, there's a lot of, toxicity out there in the world, that's for sure. So I think as mothers and as women and, single fathers as well, we have to be selective of what we bring into the home because it can really, um, not be a good thing if we're not, right? Like we have to be selective, protective, and for me, I found that the best way to keep us healthy and safe is to just stick to our unit. At least for now, right now, that's what the universe is telling me to be
Yeah.
doing.
Well, it's like, because I remember even when my son was only a baby, it was like I wanted to make sure that whoever I did bring around was actually committed and not someone that was just there for fun or gonna just, take off, because that really, it doesn't just affect you anymore. It's not just you. And so that protective, part of being a parent really comes into play in so many more ways when you have little girls and young women living in your household, and bringing a man into the house. You definitely want to make sure that that is, a man that's in alignment, with your values, and that you can trust, and all these things. And so, yeah, these days you definitely do have to be a little bit extra selective. I know I learned the hard way.
I'm holding back right now, Noko. I am holding back. Trust me.
I learned the hard way, and I won't go into details, but
I'm holding back because you know I'm an advocate for the forest breeder programs and all the diabolical shenanigans that are wrapped up in that. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I do have a whole personal perspective that isn't always so fluffy or like cookie cutter. And I mean, we could always get into that sometime if you want to.
yeah, that's a whole nother show for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But check out her YouTube, y'all, because she has some major great information in both light and dark. I mean, this is what I love about Indy, is she really is able to kind of fly in between the realms and in between the darkness and the light so eloquently. And people do need to learn about the force breeder programs. You helped me connect the dots on that in my life, which I didn't even realize was a part of any of what I had gone through. And so, yeah, y'all need to, if you haven't heard about force breeder programs, or haven't really walked into the darkness at all, go watch some of her videos. Definitely subscribe to her YouTube and do a little education. But make sure that you're, grounded and ready for it.
Yeah, because I could be pretty intense. That is for sure. Thank you for saying I ground both dark and light. Well, I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes it can seem like it's going one way or the other, but like I get very passionate about that subject because of what's happening to women all over the world, and that's something that really is one of my passion topics. It's where I really, really, I'm speaking for those injustices that I really want to see changes and shifts in the world.
I
Yeah.
love that about you, and I know you love that about me. We both come from that kind of place and background of really speaking truth, not being fearful about that, and even just like sometimes like you'll be saying things, and I'm like, oh my God, that's a song I wrote. And it's just, we have so many things in common in that way with being a voice for the voiceless and really standing up for those that maybe aren't able to. And I think it's an honorable thing to do. I think we need more people doing that. And I think that it's really brave and courageous of you, especially in the spiritual community, because there's so much of this light and love and spiritual airhead syndrome where, everybody's, got their blinders on and trying to act like none of this is happening. And that's not the way. Like the only way to light the darkness is to shine the light into the darkness. So you can't
Definitely.
just walk past
I
it.
stopped subscribing to that a long time ago because it's like I don't want to wear any masks. I don't want to wear any veils. I don't want to even have to control my image, because it's like once you start to even try to control your image, it's like you have to keep up with that. That's too much work. I want to be who I am. I want to be unfiltered. I want to be raw. I want to speak my truth. I don't want to have to adhere to any particular narratives because they become control matrices. They become boxes. They become limitations. And then you can't grow, and then you can't expand, and then you can't speak on other things. And then, that's when you feel like you can't, like I see people do it all the time on YouTube. It's like they become entrapped in their own YouTube channels because it's like they have a particular identity of a particular narrative they have to keep, and they can't really grow, and so
Yeah.
that's what happens when you do that. So
Absolutely. And it's by design. You and I have talked about this. I mean, the fact that some of these spiritual communities have been hijacked and basically programmed in that way, it's by design that certain leaders and this information is out there as a spiritual trap, really, for those of us that actually would be carrying the torch. To put the torch down and go meditate somewhere. And again, I love meditating. And I do love light and love. I speak about it all the time. But I think there's a time and a place for all of it, and there is duality, and there is
yes.
a good balancing point. And I think you're someone that really brings that forward. So
Yeah, it takes a lot of spiritual maturity to be able to work through the shadow. I mean,
absolutely.
I think we can really see a lot of our progress and growth in our Gridwork remote missions that we do because we know now, I mean, it's so crystal clear when someone brings in something. I can think of specific things that have occurred where, someone's brought in fear, someone's brought in like the old trepidation or like skepticism or like opens up a portal to for something dark to come in. I mean, we all are like on it. Like we
Yeah.
sense it. We know exactly what to do, how to maneuver, how to work with that energy. We're just like, getting everything back to how it should be so we can, minimize any sort of effect on others, because
Yeah.
that's what we do as facilitators. We hold that space for the whole group. So, I mean, yeah, we're good at that. And I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're liable for that. And I think I love that because when you brought it up, I could just see us both like with the guns like twirling around, and not like in a, not in a terrible, destroying way, but, just shooting that light.
Yeah.
Not today.
Fear removal valve. Now go.
I love it. Oh my goddess. So you did speak about something that I wanted to definitely bring up, and I always talk about this in tea time. You know, you always bring up how much I love self-care and self-love. And you started talking about it a little bit with the girls, with the family and your health and whatnot. So maybe you could share a couple of your favorite self-care modalities, things that you do to love on yourself. Let the people know.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think I think for me, nothing, all of my self-care stuff usually ends up coming out of necessity.
Mhm.
Because I've been guilty of being one of those that waits until, there's actually something going on that now I need to like move my booty to do something about it. Uh,
Not
appreciated my
anymore. Not anymore,
appreciated
right?
my youth and my health a little too much. Um, I would say right now, the number one thing for me is physical body movement. Um,
Mm,
it sounds so simple, but like a little bit of stretching every single day, like twice a day actually, and a little bit of yoga. And that to me seems to go a really, really long way for my joints, for some of the autoimmune and arthritic stuff I have going on.
mm,
um, that just it helps with stiffness, like inflammation, and just realigning my spine. That's one thing that I
mm.
noticed. My spine needs to get stretched out every day. That helps with my posture. Because I noticed too, like getting older, my shoulders seem to start dipping a little bit. So I
Mm,
need to get into those positions that I'm able to
mm.
hang, I'm able to stretch the body, I'm able to stretch my spine. That is like fundamental. Have to do that every day.
Well, because you and I are constantly, what are we doing behind the screen,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and in your whole digestive system, you get bent over and you're crunched up and you're all, I don't know if you notice, but like when I get on the computer, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's a corporate thing, like my shoulders get all tight and I'm all, so I have to like remember to like release and
Well,
figure
we're
it
in
out.
this position, and I didn't realize it, but another thing for my health that's been imperative is massage therapy and some
Mm,
other therapies I'm doing. But um, that's what my therapist is telling me is like, because I'm holding my hands in that position all day, that even when I'm not doing it, I'm holding my hands and my shoulders in the same positions because my brain's
yeah.
programmed. And we'll literally be in some of these therapeutic massage sessions where he has to tell me to release that muscle memory because I'm tight. And I go back to it.
Mhm.
So we don't even realize, like, unconsciously and subconsciously
Yeah.
we're stiffing back up in
Yep.
the same positions because we're holding them all day.
Probably doing that while we're sleeping too and not even realizing it.
Yeah. So wow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
that's been for me, yeah, working on the physical body. Massage therapy. I just
Mm.
did some cupping sessions. Um And I think my biggest thing, which I need to get back on, I kind of fell off of it, but the biggest thing that's helped me with my health overall is also diet. So,
Mm.
juicing. I'm
Mm.
like a, I'm like a super juicer when I'm actively juicing. I'll do it for like 3 months straight and then fall off for like 5 or 6 months and then then go hard for another 3 months. And then I don't know why it is I can't stay consistent like every day of the year, but when I do juice, I feel like there's tremendous health benefits.
Mm.
Um, yeah, specific juices like carrot juice, celery juice, and cabbage juice. Those are my main
Mm.
go-tos. Those three just do something for me and keep that really sustains my light body. So that and anti-inflammatory and ketogenic diet I'm looking into right now as well. Do
Nice. I
more
love
of,
the
but yeah.
cabbage juice. You turned me on to that. I'd never had it before. And when I came down to visit you, and you had that purple cabbage juice, I was like, what? Okay. And I was thinking it's gonna be gross. Oh, I loved it. But I had to take it easy because it's potent.
It'll clean you out. And
Hmm.
that's yeah, cabbage is supposed to heal your duodenal lining of your
Mm.
like in your gut. So
Mhm.
that's why I drink it because I have a lot of gut issues. So just sustaining that is like have to do everything can think of, the probiotics, all of it. But yeah, green cabbage, purple cabbage. It's not so bad if you just put a little bit of apple in it. Apple makes everything amazing.
Yeah, apple. And did you have some lemon or something? I thought maybe when we. Maybe a little
Yeah,
lemon.
lemon, a little bit of
Hmm.
lemon or a little bit of lime. It's my
Yeah.
favorite combination. And the green
Mm,
apples because they're
mm,
very like bitter and
mm.
tart and the most flavorful.
Yeah.
So it really complements vegetables very well.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. It's so, and again, we talked about it earlier, but like the parallels, her and I, like even just physically, we have a lot of the same ailments. Like our right arm, both of our right arms, we have issues with, like our stomach, our digestive system. Like it's so interesting, and it just feels like really special to have someone to be able to support each other. Like, oh, have you tried this? And just be there for each other and pray for each other and all the things. So, I'm glad you're
Definitely.
doing all these things.
What about you, Noco? I'll ask you the same question. What are your current um, health things that are just imperative or important for you on a daily
Well, it's
basis?
interesting that you said the body work because I've really noticed it's started to get warmer here finally. Georgia had a pretty cold. I know people are like, you're in Georgia, come on, you wussy. But it's been a cold winter.
It
My
does
God.
get cold here. Yes.
Yeah, and I've gotten spoiled. I'm not that like cool snowboarder that used to be in her bikini top going down the icy cold mountain. So I like to go out and ground my feet, and I like to multitask. I'm a multitasker in general with work. So I do that with my healing and my self-care because it just feels like I can stack and I can get more done, right, in a smaller amount of time. So I'll go out and I'll ground my feet into, I love moss. That's my favorite. If I can, I have a beautiful patch of moss in my yard if it's not wet.
Ooh,
And
love
I
moss.
will get my solar plexus. I'll, get my shirt up and get my solar plexus, pull my pants a little bit down just so that my whole womb is exposed to the sun. And I do my body movement. So I'll stretch. You've experienced it because we've done it in some of the gridwork missions. I like to lead some of that. So I do lymphatic movements and
Mm.
stretching yoga movements, and I'll do like some kind of jumping, bouncing, shaking, kind of getting any energy off, qigong movements. And I have found that any day that I do that, my pain, my arm pain, anything else that would bother me, my inflammation, everything is less. And unfortunately, days like when I go to hyperbaric, luckily I'm doing that, right? I'm doing that kind of healing. But those days I usually don't have the time to do the body movement and the grounding and the sunshine. So I kind of trade off and on. But those are my favorite things to do. I've used red light therapy as well. But I really think nature and just getting out and moving the body, taking walks, and just being in nature, like forest bathing, listening to the birds, feeling the wind, feeling the sun, getting the light codes. I think that's where the true medicine is, and the most powerful medicine. And it renews my soul. Actually, today, when I went out, my neighbor's cat, I call her our yard kitty. Her name's Rose, and she came over. And I don't always let her get on me, but I let her get on me today because I knew I was going to go right in and take a shower and get all the cat hair clothes off. So I had her on me, and it came to me that she was a temple cat. And she's already been doing energetic work with me, grid work missions. Like she's already shown to me that she's protecting our land, our home, even when she's physically not here. And so today she like got on me and just was like kneading and purring, and she activated me. I literally had like a 5-minute song transmission out there that I swear was like a temple song. So animal love right now has been really big, animal communication and just making space, to just have time, just receive, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's our temple, right? I
Mhm.
mean, this we need to care for it so much more than we do. If it could be at least like 50% of my focus daily, I mean, that would be amazing. I feel like we all deserve that.
Mhm.
We
We do.
deserve to be able to actually focus on our diet and our
Yes.
food preparation and the foods we bring in. I mean, that to me is the hardest struggle right there is you have so many things to do every day. You have so much you have to try to keep up on and take care of. That's a lot of times that will be one thing that will fall because you're just not able to do that. But if you could just take these things off your plate and focus on the food you're bringing in, that's the key to our life right there. That's everything.
Yeah.
The quality of
I,
that food we're bringing in.
I think that that's part of the new earth shift in the dynamic is like actually living in community where, it's not everybody's just working, their butts off 9 to 5 plus and, never having time to do these things. It's like some people's job is that. Like somebody is, farming and preparing and cooking and doing that part of the work. Somebody is, the healer doing the body work, and then we actually don't have to work so hard, and we can spend time with nature and doing the things that we're supposed to do. Just imagine if all of us were doing these things even for like the last 10 years, never mind our whole life, but like if even just for the last 10 years we all were getting out every day, grounding, moving our bodies, eating the proper foods, juicing. Can you imagine what a different vessel and life we'd be in? Like even just as channels and as servants of God, like we would be so clear and so purified and so much more in our mastery, right? So that's my prayer, like for each of us and for our future generations to have that type of opportunity and that community around us to be able to feel supported in that way and just live this beautiful highest timeline.
Absolutely. That's my prayer as well.
Mhm.
These future communities and where we can sustain our health. Yeah, and it be something that's celebrated and supported and a part of I would say these off-grid communities. I mean, that to
Mhm.
me still feels like that's something that's in the future potentially. So yeah, it would be nice to be able to, like you said, could you imagine if we did it for so long? We probably add 10 years to our lives.
At least. At least. And it
Yeah.
really, when you think about it, it's really simple. It's just the rat race and what's been designed for humanity and for society to, fit into that box that we've been talking about, kicking the hell out of the way. That's the issue is that everybody's trying to get this like, this next new shiny thing, and they're constantly got that carrot dangling where we could literally all just be living a more simple, pure life and actually enjoy it more and feel less pain and be more in harmony with Mother Earth, like all these things that are what we should be doing, but just have been really pulled away from. I'm just excited that it is so simple. It doesn't make it easy. And that's the challenge, is figuring out how do we, simplify, how do we go back and, kind of let go of some of these
Now that you're
newfangled.
saying this, I feel like grid work holds keys to it because I would say through a lot of the grid work we've done and the missions we've done, it allows us to get closer to God. It allows us to get closer to enlightenment, things
Mhm.
that we can't necessarily do on our streets and in our houses. I mean, we get out to some of these Stargate locations and vortices and places where the land is truly sustaining a higher vibrational frequency, and it heals us. And we don't realize how unhealed we were until we get there, and then we get healed. And then we are all of a sudden granted visions, granted downloads of what a spiritual existence looks like, what an enlightened existence actually looks like. We realize like how our regular lives, I mean, remember coming back from Kauai? I mean, I was devastated in the airport for one, knowing what I was coming back to. And two, I mean, we were all in a void space for like a good 3 months after this because we didn't even know how to assimilate back into our living situation. We got so expanded and healed from that.
Yep. Yep.
So, I mean, those types of experience, I think, shows us the potential of what we can become. It's just when do we get to that point that we're ready to make those sacrifices and make those big life changes? Because I mean, I kind of feel like for us, at least, Noko, that it's a matter of like our children.
Hmm.
I think we're waiting for a timeline in which our children are super self-sufficient, productive adults.
Hmm.
And, before we can just, because I really think that that lifestyle is going to require us to like uproot it's gonna be, the shifts are just gonna be so dramatic that it will change the home dynamic.
Hmm.
Everything has to change, and I think we have to be really ready for that on a soul level. So I think we're getting prepared right now.
Absolutely. And I have to say, I mean, I'm excited because Kingston is like ready to do that already. Like he would just jump right into that kind of lifestyle. I feel like he's all about it. And he actually, I was laughing so hard today because I had him doing some of his homeschooling, and sometimes I'll let him just kind of freestyle and do something that he wants. And so he wanted to make a comic. He loves making comics. So he made a comic, and he said, check this out. This is a whole page. I'll have to take a picture and share it online or something, because I really think he's going to be famous or something for this. He made this comic that was like making fun of, well, you know him. He doesn't have a filter, first of all. He was making fun of stupid people. And I know this probably sounds crazy that I'm fostering this as a mother, but I'm not. It was his idea. But it was really funny if you think about, like some of those comics that are very use sarcasm and kind of use real life things to like put stuff in people's face. Like, look at this. And what it was McDonald's. He made a little building. It said McDonald's, and it said cancer $1, death $2. Okay, and then he had a person coming up and like paying the guy, and the guy was like, enjoy your death, and he was like, thanks, I will, and like walking off the cliff. And so he's really tapped in to this higher level of understanding at 11 years old, this boy. And his sense of humor around it is like, it blows my mind sometimes, like what he comes out with. And he went on, he had more. He had a whole timeline of this in his comic strip. And I'm like, wow, this is something he could literally like awaken people with and become famous for this artistry in, he has like sacred rage and things like he wants to like go and like tear people up when he sees the forest being cut down. He wants to go and like do some violent things. I'm like, buddy, hold on. Like, I know why you feel that way. Understand, but we've got to find the right channels, to utilize that emotion and that feeling to actually help and not be a part of the problem, right? And so I love that he finds these ways to channel his anger and his thought process around, kind of the ridiculousness that life is. And I want to take credit for it, but it's really part of his soul mission. I know that he chose me for this reason, that I would allow him and foster him the freedom to be a sovereign being and bring these kind of things forward. And I'm like, he just blows my mind sometimes, some of the stuff that he comes forward with. It's like, wow, you are so wise beyond your years. And some people need this. Like, some people won't wake up until they find the humor in it and see the ridiculousness of their own ways, right in their face by an 11-year-old in stick figures.
Wow, that's so funny. Yeah, I mean, I think Kingston, yeah, he definitely has a special place in my heart. He is a bright and sovereign and intelligent young man, and um, yeah, I love how I feel like in some ways I've been, a part of the path work. I remember in Arkansas, just that little moment we had up at the top of Mount Pinnacle, and I don't know what I said exactly, but it was something that he took it in
Mm-hmm.
and he absorbed it for a moment, and I think he resonated and he realized, and then he was good all of a sudden, and it was like, you guys got to do your part in the ceremony, and it just I just I see the wisdom and the intelligence and his potential. Yeah, I think you've raised him very well. I think you're a great mom. And yeah, I just love you guys so much. And he has great ideas. I mean, the volcano clearing, all of it. He's bringing stuff in sometimes. You can't deny
He's
it.
he's definitely a very clear channel and very connected to his intuition. Like his gifts and his capabilities, they were just already activated. Like he came in this way, whereas I kind of had to work through it. And part of that is really, we have protected him and shielded him from the programming of the public school, the poisoning of the crap food. He's never eaten McDonald's. He doesn't want sugar. If somebody asks him if he wants chocolate or ice cream. He doesn't want that stuff because he's never had a taste for that. We've never given it to him that way. And so, and then even to the fact of the needle tech, you know, we learned the hard way. He had only two of the Hep B's when he was very, very little, had an injury, and that was that. And I stood up for him. I stood my ground with that pediatrician, and you know, I really feel like it's part of why he is, you know, so how he is, you know, so purified and so able to, you know, be healthy and not be sick all the time, like my, you know, like my oldest was. I had kind of both experiences, and I was able to literally see the difference. So I'm glad that he chose us, and I'm excited to see what else he's going to bring through. And I think all of us that have children, like our children, your girls and everything, like I just feel like they have their own journeys, and they chose us with purpose, with great purpose.
Yeah.
They're learning, they're sucking it all in, and time will tell, right? I mean, these newer generations, they're going to be the ones leading the pack at some point.
Yeah.
So,
And my younger daughter, she is just very naturally, innately intuitive. She's already like she works towards like a vegetarian vegan diet already on her own. She's like very doesn't want any like chemicals in her soaps or shampoos, or
great.
she's very health conscious. And that's I feel like I have had an influence, but I feel like it's her choice. She chooses that for herself. So yeah, it's really interesting to see how so young, you know, at 15, 16, they know. They know and they care, and they care about their body, and they care about the world, and they care about the quality of the stuff that they have for themselves. So, yeah, they're smart, and I think they got some big futures ahead of them, and I think we are we were, yeah, like you said, we were chosen to be their parents for a reason, because they're meant to be something significant someday for the rest of the world. I truly believe that, especially Kingston. Yeah, I think he's going to be a leader of something big. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that and support him and support all of these new earth you know, potential leaders coming through, and even the babies that are being born right now. Like I feel like there's just each generation, I feel like we're getting this kind of new emergence of souls that are like, okay, okay, God, I'm here. What do I gotta do? Show me what to do, you know, like I'm here. So little like grid workers right out of the womb, you know?
That's right. We're raising armies of grid workers. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. So, oh, sister, we have been on for so long, but I want to just before we go, let everybody know about our giveaway. So, I like to do this a lot just to kind of create opportunities for my guests and my shop page to kind of receive some growth, some support, and also us giving back. It's like a beautiful reciprocation, just like Gridwork is. And so, Indy and I are doing a little giveaway over the next week. We both have a post on Indy's page on Instagram and also on my Noko's Tribe page, but I'll be sharing it on this page as well in my stories, where you can just like the post and tag 3 friends in there for us to hopefully connect with. If they're interested in what we do, they can check us out, and you will get an entry into, and you have to be following both of us, both of our pages. You will get an entry into the giveaway. And then you can also share the post in your stories and tag us so that we make sure we see it. And you'll get an extra bonus entry. So check it out. I've got all the details in the post. If you have any questions, you can message me. But we're going to keep that open for the week. And then after the giveaway closes, we'll come on live again. If Indy wants to join me, she can. We'll do a little little drawing giveaway. This is my magic little box. And we'll pick the winners. And so Indy has graciously going to be sending out, yes, sister, woohoo! Indy's going to be sending out a Starseed activator. And I think it'll be okay for them to probably choose which one they want, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's 6 choices.
Yeah, tell them a little bit about that, why you created it, what you have.
Well, I'd love to keep creating more, I'll tell you what. But I decided to create Starseed activator sprays. So these are actually great for grid work.
Yes,
and each one is according to the 6 main starseed nations and origins. So Sirian, Pleiadian, Arcturian, Orion, Andromeda, and Lyran. And they come with crystals, and they've all been attuned really high atop a very high, one of the tallest mountains in Colorado, because that's where my stock supply was essentially, but very close to the stars. And on each front of the bottle, there's actually light language activation to that star system as well. So basically, each one is a different scent. I channeled, the scents according to the starseed origin. Like just an example, the Arcturian starseed activator is orange, sage, and lemongrass. And this one is, it's got like a citrusy vibe, but a little bit of like a wild, lemongrass, a grassy smell as well. So it's like very natural and grounded, but also has like a upper vibration a little bit to it as well. So each one is, according to those scent activations, which I was guided at the time that I created these, that not only can we be activated to the star systems through attunements, symbols, um, transmissions, activations, but also through scent. We can use all of our senses that, in the Orion system, like they do have smells you can smell. In the Sirian system, on the planets there that, the other ultra terrestrials and extraterrestrials live, they have smells, they have trees, they have, plant life. So this was what I had channeled that each one was most similar to, and I think that they came out pretty well and pretty rooted in the intention and the vibration of those star systems. So I love them. We love to work with them when we do grid work. I feel like we can activate portals to the star systems by using these, and they're really helpful.
Well, she's being very humble, y'all. I am an essential oil lover. These are the most potent, powerful blends that I have ever used, I have to tell you. I have all 6 of them. Thank you very much, Indy. I absolutely adore these. I do not leave home without them. Anywhere I go, battery's getting low. My battery's getting low. But especially with grid work, I always bring them remotely and physically. My favorites, I have to say, are the Andromeda and the Pleiadian. Of course, I have big Pleiadian ties, but they're all amazing. We've been using the Orion at night for Kingston's feet, actually, before he goes to sleep. We put it on every night. But definitely, even if you don't win, check some of these out. Go to her website, IndigoAngel222.com, and grab yourself some of these activators, because you're going to love them. I promise. Now, they are powerful, so you don't need a lot. That way they will last you a long time. But grid workers, this is definitely something for you. And anybody that just likes to use their senses, it's going to activate you for sure. Whether or not you're a starseed or believe in starseed stuff, you're going to love these, I promise. So somebody will win one of those. Disclaimer, you have to be in the US. If you're not, you'll just have to maybe like cover your own shipping. We can talk about that with the winner. And as well, whoever wins, we can get you all the flavors, and you can figure that out when the time comes. I'm so excited to see, because it's always divine who wins these giveaways.
I'm so excited to know, what is your giveaway, Noko?
No, well, I was super inspired, because I was like, oh, I want to do something different. And I just recently kind of started messing around over here with starting some different session work for my website. And so I'm going to actually offer this person that wins the first ever remote crystal healing and sound healing session here in my spiritual room. We'll get on Zoom together. It's going to be a 33-minute session where I'm just going to tap in. We're going to do some energy work, some sound healing, and some crystal healing, and it'll be a first. So I'm super stoked to try, have that opportunity. I've done it in person with a few of my friends, and it's come out really powerful and really special. And so I'm getting that nudge to move forward in that space. And I just recently did a different little crystal conversation that I'm also going to be adding to my website. So stay tuned for new offerings on my end. And yeah, I can't wait to see who wins. It's going to be really exciting.
I love it.
Thank you, sister. Thank you for doing this with me. It's been so fun to spend time together and share you with.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much for having me here. It's just it feels like a shift in dynamic a little bit because I have you on my channel so much, but I love this. I mean, it's so fun and sweet and humbling and activating, and I really love connecting in with everyone watching on your page as well. So just shout out to Noko's tribe. Like this, share this out, put everything in for the giveaway because it's definitely going to be worth it, a session with Noko. I can tell you that much. She's a powerful healer. So um, yeah, it's worth a million bucks or more. It's infinite.
Thank you, sister. This has been so fun. I can't wait for us to connect again. If you want to, maybe we can jump on the live to do the giveaway next week. And yeah, everybody stay tuned. I'm gonna do my little theme song to carry us out of here, and I'll post the replay on both of our pages so y'all can catch that, and definitely catch the giveaway post as well, and share. We really appreciate the support. It always comes back around, right? So just know, energetically speaking, we all get to win together. So, all right, y'all. Indy, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here.
Love you, sister. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. And to the O, to the K, to the O, and to the O, to the K. Big up the underdog. And to the O, to the K, to the O, and to the O, to the K. Power to the people. Woohoo! One love.